Right. We're now live with me,
Mhm.
Jimison O'Reilly, and Marlena
Hello.
Butterfield.
Well,
Sorry, that's not your real name. Marlena, that is your name.
Marlena.
How are
Yes.
you doing there? And thank you for joining me. I appreciate it on this
Hi.
day of floods here.
Yes. Hi. Hi, everyone.
Not
I am
where you
okay.
are, though. There's no floods where you are.
Floods. No, there's no floods. I know there was a flood in New York City. I just discovered that. It was quite
Yeah,
shocking.
I know you like to keep up to date on what's happening anytime at any juncture, basically in New York City,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it is basically the center of the world.
It is.
I mean, especially if you're a fan of two of the biggest stars on the planet right now, Justin
Yeah.
Timberlake and Britney Spears. I don't know if
But
you've heard of those.
Britney Spears, she is like doing quite well because she's has a new life now. So I'm a fan of her. So yeah, of course, I'm a fan of her. Personally, not of her music, but I mean, so
You're not a fan of Britney Spears music? What the? I mean,
no, because
what the
I
hell?
appreciate her as a person. Though it's not so much
Are you
her.
just trying to be controversial tonight?
Yeah, no, because Britney Spears had a very interesting life. So yeah, I supported her as a person. She had she was under the tutelage of her father. So she was trying very
Uh,
hard to get out,
yeah,
to get out
but
of.
you've got to remember, Marlena, as well, that she said the highlight of her entire career and her life has been her musical output. For you to say you don't like her music, really, I mean, imagine if she heard that.
She will be hurt. Well, she has many good things going on in her life, so
She'd
probably
probably do a live striptease on Instagram whilst throwing knives or something. I
she
mean, lately she was doing these dances on Instagram,
really.
and she did in one or two of the videos recently. She did have knives, which was obviously concerning for some people,
Oh wow,
but
I
not for
didn't.
me because I actually sent her those knives to display.
Okay, maybe
Yes.
it was for attention to gain followers. Yes.
No, no, no. It's just that I basically sent them to her saying, "I really think your first album was the best, and
Yeah.
here are some knives, basically." So
No, okay. No, but I mean, I like the teenage years because when she was a teenager and she had those songs, I was a teenager too. So I mean, it was okay. Um,
well,
but yeah.
well, for me it was different in that when her song, "Hit Me Baby One More Time" came out, I was actually 52. So, but at the same time, at that time, I was in an abusive relationship where with a man who often would just punch me, really hard in the face, and I would say,
That's a joke because you
"Don't do
couldn't
it."
get so older or much older than me.
Well, I'm now in my 70s, so
Okay, so see, it's a joke because I don't know when you're joking and
no, it's
when.
not a joke. It's um,
I'm now 70. Like Joey from Friends, he's like acting and he's trying to say, "Oh no, I'm now old." So you're now trying to act.
I mean, now I was looking for a photo that the one of the Exorcist. Do you remember the Exorcist believer, the one I sent to you that was showing Angela in a
Mhm.
further stage of advanced demonicness, and
Yeah.
I was having difficulty looking for it in the files, the download. So, um,
Oh, really? I didn't look at the photos. Was it that bad?
uh,
It's like scary, scary.
it's not scary or anything to me, but it's something that I think. Why was it not shown in the film? Really, it just seems like a variety of things from that film, The Exorcist Believer. It's just, it doesn't make any sense really why they would exclude certain things if it looks effective, you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, it's not letting me upload it. I'll find it and probably put it on the screen in a moment, but it's the wrong kind of file. I'll just have to change it. Sorry.
Okay.
It's basically it's just so much like the promo for this film has been so slapdash, really, I would describe it as, because there's no way that it all could have been planned like that, you know. With the primary thing that shows that to me was David Gordon Green coming out on the day before the film is released saying, I don't think I'll be directing the next one. That's like, you know, because if you want to promote the film, surely you want to build confidence by saying, I'm happy with what I've directed here.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, you just leave it out. You don't need to start saying stuff about, and it just shows that there's something between him and the studio and whatever, that he's just decided, okay, I'll put it out there and I'm probably not directing the next one, so people can expect something different if they don't like what I've done. Like, I mean,
well,
you know, and well, the majority of people didn't like it, were not massively keen on it, but on the other hand, there's also a massive gulf between critics' responses and then audience response on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, critics have given it 20-something%. Audiences, you know, upper 50s. So, not that I don't actually, you know, I don't believe Rotten Tomatoes particularly, but I think it gives, Voltaire highlighted it to me, and I think it does give a good indication if there is a disparity with the film, you know, between different responses, you know, because critics are kind of, well, it's not unreasonable to imagine that they're a bit spoiled, aren't they? And that they see lots of films as part of their job for free, and then they just sort of, you know, they become kind of blasé a bit, whereas an audience is a bit more sort of invested, like they choose to go and see that film. And you know, it's fair to say that like Exorcist films are not necessarily going to be what everyone wants to watch, really.
No, I think this particular movie, The Believer, I mean, it has very bad luck with population because of the first one, you know. So because everybody compares it to the first one, and it's like so annoying, you know. I mean, why can you just treat it like a possession movie, you know, The Believer? Because it was quite good for me, you know. Like, I mean, I really enjoy it. I mean, like, if you can compare The Believer with the Talk to Me, and if you look at the Talk to Me reviews on all both of these sites, like Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, it's just amazing. You know, like Talk to Me was made by YouTubers. That's crazy, you know. I mean, it's like completely like.
Yeah, I know, it's two guys who are like barely 30. They're not like even, and I mean, you know, my response is like, when I think to how I was when I was 30, I think to myself, could I have made a good film at that age? Like, not really. I think I could kind of make something that would have been passable with all the help like that you get in making a major production. Like, well, it's a pretty major production, but you know, it wasn't. There's nothing. It's like you're getting these critics writing like saying this is the best horror film of the year and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, which horror films are you comparing it to? Because either there's been no good horror films this year,
yes,
because it's like it was just so ordinary. I mean, it had elements that I could see some people could. It had like a physicality to it in that they're grabbing hold of a hand thing and all that business, but
that was new.
There's just so much more you could do with it. Like, if you're saying that this, I don't mean literally, okay, have the hand come to life and it's like the Addams Family or something with the hand running around everywhere. That would be ridiculous. But it's just focused on basically a bunch of like too cool for school teenagers.
Yeah.
The kind of people I would never have known at school, anywhere really. Well, like the kind of people you might meet at university, and you just think, hey, they're cool. It's like those kids, you know, just Yeah, yeah,
Yes, it was
yeah.
really
Like,
cute, yeah.
and you're just thinking, like, I was never like this, hardly. That's all I vaguely remember, and I saw it in the cinema, and I was
Reality.
like, I just
Yeah,
zoned out with it. Really, I think.
yeah, and people say that the teenagers, they are not realistic at all. I mean, of course teenagers are crazy and they want to experience crazy stuff, but I mean it's not realistic. They are not scared at all, you know. They are like,
No,
because
no, right to the end, it carries on consistently with like each one of them. They see what the hell's happening to the each
yes,
to the point where one of them is basically like catatonic or something, or
yeah, exactly,
and they're just like, okay, I'll do it.
yeah. That's crazy. I mean, the fuck.
There's no sense, but there's no sense. It's like there's no sense of suspense. You've got to have tension as well in a horror film.
Exactly,
Like
that's
even
what
if Exorcist Believer, I'm not suggesting it's like a film classic or something, but it's got a degree of tension in it. I think,
it has
even if I
tension.
think it's confusing, you know.
Yeah, it has, like, I want to talk about that tension, because I mean when they found the girls, you know, like, yeah, they found the girls in
Just
the
look at this person
yeah,
in the
Mystic,
chat.
yeah.
I mean, we always get someone new, some popping up occasionally. Like now, it's Mystic Mac, and it's this guy with massive shades.
Okay, well, that's
Like,
good.
he's actually too cool even to be in Talk to Me. And like you say, you highlighted the fact that it was made by two YouTuber brothers, I believe they
Mhm.
are, or
Exactly.
relations, or whatever.
Oh, and
Like,
I wanted to say that,
at
you know,
what
like,
point did they just say, you can make a film?
yeah, but I mean, no, but I mean, you said that it's original, so of course it is original, and that was really great, the idea and the concept. But there, as you said, there was no tension. There was no, you know, like, that kind of horror atmosphere that is in Exorcist the Believer.
It's just
Like when
not
they,
no real.
like, there was like very scary, because you know what is going to happen with the girls. Like they were like weird, and I don't know. Before they turned, there was this tension that you were thinking like, what the heck is going to, you know, happen with this?
Well, I
Because
would
some,
say, in Believer though that just Marlena, like the scene with Ellen Burstyn, spoiler alert and everything. I mean, we all know what happens, but that it's a
yeah,
very strange scene, and I do feel that dissipated a lot of the tension to come. So
yeah.
that is
Well,
just an example. I do think that David Gordon Green was trying to make a bizarre new Exorcist film, and that's
mhm.
that didn't appeal necessarily to a mainstream audience. Even it's almost
Mm,
like Exorcist Believer. It's almost like an art film, isn't it? In a way, with it, but then with a few added shocks. But let me just put this up on the screen. This just
mhm,
like, for instance, in terms of the shocks and things like that, it's almost like nobody really said anything to the director, and he just kind of did what he wanted. But like
mhm.
this shot, for instance, if you look on the screen now, if you see,
That's scary. Mhm.
that's not in the film, is it? There's nothing. She never
Um,
looks that, because they described it basically in the like
so
in the
where was
in the makeup department they had 4 stages of hair like advancement. This is the 4th stage. In the
this is?
film, that it only shows up to about the 3rd stage. So,
Oh, this is too much, too advanced. The stage of possession.
well, it could be, but I don't. I mean, I think if they made it in makeup and everything, and it was sort of like ready to go, then it suggests that they did film some of that. And I just feel like the film's been cut down a lot. Like
Mhm.
I genuinely believe there was like a 2.5 hour cut or something, and it's like they toned it down, and they
It
decided,
was
okay, we've
three
got like
hours
the
and
yeah, it's like well, no, 2.5 hours, or I mean, it could be 3 hours, but like the priest having his neck broken and stuff, like that's disturbing, but it's not. It's predictable for The Exorcist, but it's just strange. I mean, why would you even make this kind of makeup if it's not going to be in the film? So,
You mean the priest dying?
well, his neck is turned around, isn't it? But that's just by it's like supernatural force. No,
Yeah,
nobody actually holds it. It's
yeah. No, it was a good scene, because I think it was great that they made the priest die, because he was talking about that, that many possessions are dangerous and he doesn't want to get involved. And I mean, he did manifest that for himself, because I mean, and these two demons were so aggressive, were more aggressive than previous in the previous movies, right? I thought that they were more like sadistic,
Um,
the demons.
the demons.
Hmm. Because like how they they killed the priest, and then the Ellen Burstyn, how they what they did to her. I thought that there was like this element of sadistic behavior.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely compared to, say, the first film. Yeah, the first
Yeah,
Exorcist.
yeah. So and I mean, I like that because I like slasher films. So that it satisfy that kind of. So probably like people who like this Exorcist, they like it maybe because they also like slasher films, because there was quite a lot of gore. Well, not so much gore, but anyway. And people who didn't like the movie, they just thought that it was quite cliche and it didn't bring anything new. But I mean, what other new things they can bring in a possession movie? Because I mean, what else? What else can you bring to a possession movie? And I thought that I mean, what that was enough for me.
Well, in response to saying what else could you bring, I think
Yeah, like
you,
I mean, the
there's
Monica person. I mean, what else can they do? You know what I mean?
no, but no. In terms of what I would say, if you're going to make an exorcism film, and what else can you bring to it, I would say a hell of a lot. I mean, I think that the David Gordon Green approach to Exorcist Believer is its own thing, and I appreciated that. I was almost basically I'd seen the film before it came out because I watched so much of the material and the ads and everything, and I like particularly that first half, the build up, the getting lost in the woods business, etc.
Mhm.
I mean, when you think about it, if they've been lost for 3 days in the woods and they've either not been eating or drinking particularly, and we don't know what they've been doing exactly.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, the homeless man makes mention of some kind of sexual thing, but that's just in by the by. But it's still there in the film, and they could have caught something whilst they were out there, and they're ill basically. So it begins with the illness, but we also, I mean, this is one thing I overlooked or didn't mention previously in talking about the film. When Catherine is in the church initially in the first scene, and she's sort of like out of it, just sitting there slumped over, it quite
Mhm.
clearly indicates that her hand is reaching up into a private area. That she's messing around with herself in church. It does
Oh,
show
really?
that. Yeah, it shows. But it's literally such a brief. You see, what the film's done is it's tried to tone down a lot of things from the original film and then just put them in there, and it makes them still
Okay.
disturbing. So it's almost like a subliminal. But I don't know. I think, for instance, if you compare this film to, say, Exorcist 3, then that is a totally different, very serious approach to The Exorcist. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like using the same locations from the original film to some extent, having a lot of priests speaking seriously, having the detective who's very serious.
Yeah.
It doesn't center around any families, for instance, like this one does. I mean, this film is far more approachable to the general public compared to
Yeah.
Exorcist 3. And I think that's one of its qualities. But the film feels completely divided, and I still come down on the side that scene where Ellen Burstyn goes up the stairs is like almost dreamlike. It's some kind of the
Mhm.
film just splits off into two parts, and it goes into this whole ceremonial thing, which is like everybody's under this kind of mass hypnosis or something. I think that's what the film is trying to get at. I mean, why else have we got these there's like subliminal shots towards the end where you actually see the demon. When I was talking about these makeup effects of Angela, they've released a picture of what the actual demon looks like. Do you want me to
They
show you
did?
that as well? Yes.
That's
And it's
cool.
like, but it is cool in a way, but at the same time, it just makes me think this is slightly too far off from. And I understand why they didn't show the demon fully, but well, you'll probably understand or not when you see it. You might think this should have been in. But you know what I mean? Like when you compare it to the first film, all we had was the subliminal pics of the subliminal images using Eileen Dietz, this actress playing, like Pazuzu, kind of Captain Howdy thing, and the
Yeah.
statue. They never really, they never showed anything like the real identity of the demon, like taking control of, you know, what's the name? Reagan, sorry.
Megan, yeah.
But anyway, there's so many things in that Exorcist Believer which are shown almost subliminally, like like Angela is scratching Reagan inside her where she's enclosed in the hospital.
Okay.
She's scratching it, but then it's also being shown. It seems like it's being scratched somewhere else as well. There's just so many things that are like,
okay, I understand.
that are mixed up. And on a serious level, like, why would anybody to say? I mean, okay, a nearly 90-year-old woman go upstairs and just go straight up to this demon who's dressed in the same manner as Reagan in that light blue robe and things. So it's like as if, Chris is she's picturing the demon as Reagan, isn't she? So Reagan. It's in her mind. That's this kind of thing, and
well, I don't know. They were desperate for a solution, and they thought that maybe she could find some solution from that demon. I don't know. I mean, people
it's just not believable that anybody would have allowed her to go up to the room on her own. So it's just
because she is old or what? Why?
She says she explicitly says in the script, I was never allowed to go up into the room when it was happening, the exorcism. In the original film, she never was, because she mentions the patriarchy. Like some people have been kind of going, oh, this is the Exorcist Believer being woke. But that's completely really in sync with what her kind of character would say, because she was quite a sort of strong feminist woman in the original film. And she was sort of like, this actress striking out on her own, going, she sort of saw herself as that. And we never saw any mention really of Reagan's father. Obviously, it wasn't great. It was not ended so great, but she was a well-to-do-ish kind of actress, wasn't she, in the original film? So her saying about the patriarchy or whatever is completely in line with that. And again, the film becomes that quite a bit, although we do have two females on hand when there's the exorcism. So anyway, I'll find that picture again for you of the and I think you before we came online, you said, have you got any good recommendations for haunted house films, by the way? So
yeah, that would be great, because I have watched so many haunted house movies, and I can't seem to find the new ones. But I don't think there is a new movie in this genre, horror movie.
Oh, a newish. Well, yeah. I've always said that, like, I like, for instance, Watcher in the Woods, but I mean, that's one I would recommend to you absolutely if you've never seen it. I think it's a really great, solid film, even if it has the Disney name attached to it. It's like, we went through this, Betty Davis is in it as well, and it does have scenes in the house that was filmed in this country where there's a bit of a ghost thing going on. So
good.
I mean, it's a scary film for children. I mean, if I watched it now again, I would find it well made and scary.
Really, for children? Horror?
Well, it's more scary than Exorcist Believer, I would say. Watcher in the Woods, but that's for me, because I find ghost type situations scary. It's like, I mean, the film, the black and white film The Innocents.
Yeah, that's great.
And they could see like a woman standing over on the other side of the lake. I mean, that kind of thing gets to me. But I mean, The Innocents as a whole, it's not really that scary, is it? But it's eerie.
No.
So
No,
But
it's
then,
beautiful, and more psychological scary, but not very, not very horror scary, or stuff. Yeah, it's just, I
yeah,
don't
it's
know.
like
It's just more
it's like
psychological.
a mixture of it's like a mixture of beauty and terror, isn't it? Because they're
Yeah,
surrounded by these just at this very beautiful house, and of course the garden, and it's like the birds and the roses and things, and then the children seem to be
mhm.
going into these kind of like trance-like states, don't they? And it's
Yeah, but there is also
and
this idea that they didn't know exactly if there was a ghost there or it was something created by their imagination, because it was psychological more. It wasn't like very explicit what about if the ghost was there or not.
no, it's like based on a Henry James short story, The Turn of the Screw, and but
Mhm.
I think that film very clearly was the influence on that newer film, The Others, with Nicole Kidman, which
Oh yeah.
you could say has more obvious scares in it, but I wouldn't necessarily call it scary
Mm.
either. Really,
No, not so much.
it's
Mm.
I mean it's only that The Others is pretty. I do actually think though that for instance, horror films kind of tap into a certain zeitgeist at the time, and during that period, like there was a sort of a interest in just sort of the kind of misty, spooky horror films of the past and things like that. Like from The Sixth Sense, that had a kind of that kind of atmosphere, and then
Yeah.
something like The Others, etc. But like now, we're not in that kind of. It doesn't seem to be really like that now. It seems all sorts of different horrors are popular, but
Yeah, it's not very, I don't know. They're just trying to come up with a different audio concepts in our movie,
but
but it
when
doesn't.
there's
I don't know.
when
It just
something
doesn't.
is when something is potentially successful, like Saw X, like or like the new Saw
Yeah.
film has come out, and it's like I was thinking, like I thought the whole Saw franchise had ended, and it's just they will carry on with anything just as long as they know that people are going to go and see it. And
Mhm.
I don't know which film will end up making the most. Like probably the Saw film will end up making more money than the Exorcist Believer, but Exorcist Believer has done
Yeah,
okay generally.
definitely.
So it's just
Mm.
you know.
Do you think that the how do you say, the feedback that the Exorcist Believer got influenced the revenue of the movie? Maybe it did, right?
Oh yeah, I mean,
It did.
just I think the thing is, I followed it very clearly, not cleverly particularly, but I followed the promo for the film very clearly, and I just sort of like before when I heard the film was announced. At first, I thought it was a remake. Then I thought it was going to very clearly follow like a reprisal of the settings from the original film and quite a big, expansive film, like big budget. And
Mm-hmm.
Believer was more modest. It's not that. So
Oh,
I think that if the film had been what I was originally imagining, it probably would have got a somewhat better reception if it was done better.
yeah.
But as it was, I think it came out and people already pretty much decided whether they were going to see it or not. But I think it may have affected some people who were to not go and see it and wait till it comes out on home streaming. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because
I
the
mean,
comments around about like on The Exorcist on the Reddit now, it's like there's one comment and it says, finally it just come in, 52 minutes ago. Finally saw Believer and I didn't hate it. Question mark, exclamation mark. I mean, that is exactly the kind of response. Like, this is not going to make people go out to the cinema if they read that
oh
first thing.
I didn't hate it. Yeah, most of the comments are like that. Yeah, they are like really lukewarm, enthusiastic, or not enthusiastic at all. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the box office. Because I mean, I don't know. I mean, I really thought it was good. I mean, for me, like
I think it did. I think it did. I think you came to it better than I did because you hadn't necessarily watched as many of the trailers, even though you'd seen some. But I am in agreement with you. I think that in time, and especially once they've made the trilogy, because I do think they'll continue with it. people will regard this one a little bit more like
in time,
easily, not like just because now that it's just all or nothing. It's like, is this film good or not? Oh no, it's not exactly that great. So
yeah,
it's nowhere near as good as the original Exorcist, so therefore I don't like it.
Yeah, for sure, because it was the same in the beginning.
What do you mean? What do you mean by good, though? That's the thing. Because, like, if I went to the cinema now to see The Exorcist, and even however much it may have been remastered or how great it looks on the screen, the sound's great and everything, I just know the film so well, the original Exorcist, that I hate to say it, but I would start getting like a bit just zoning out and not that interested. So,
were you talking about there's a comment here on the chat. Were you talking about that? Monkey Island saying that The Exorcist believer sucks ass?
Well, no, that's his first comment that came in with. He says, "Give it a thumbs up if you agree." Like, he's just trying to be. It's just nihilism, basically.
Okay.
Monkey Island is a nihilist.
Yeah. Okay.
And an asshole.
Nihilist is different than being an asshole. So
no, both. I would like to stipulate that Monkey Island is a pain in the ass.
Okay.
It makes it hard for me to concentrate when I'm doing a video with comments like that. So maybe they ought to try and think about being a little bit more helpful. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go on YouTube to see how horrible the reviews are for Exorcist Believer. So I mean, there isn't much hope there.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, there's so many of those reviews, right? And it's just clickbait central, and it's like guys with stupid beards, like largely very overweight men, American. Kind of go, yeah, man. Hey, I just got back from the theater. The Exorcist Believer, it sucks, man. Yeah, it's just like a bunch of kind of like dicks, just like trying to get views for their videos, and they're just like drinking too much Mountain Dew and eating too much whatever shit they eat, just too many fries and stuff. It's just there is one YouTube channel that I told you, the Lost Driving or whatever channel. He gives some pretty. He seems more level-headed. Like, if you're just giving a video and it's all about, I want to get people to click on this video and see me just like looking kind of an unattractive male bashing the film. It's like, why is the point of this? I don't understand it. But they're going through a phase, aren't they, with their videos and stuff? And it's just they just appeal mainly to other men, basically.
Yeah.
There's not many women watching this kind of stuff, so I don't mean that's not meant to be sexist, but there are a few specific female YouTubers who do review horror films, though. So
I've seen some. Yeah, I've seen some.
And I would expect them they would probably give a bit more of a rounded review. So
I mean, I'm sure if you make a channel with movie reviews, you would get some audio, like some money from the revenue, the ads, and that's why they make these controversial titles to attract people to to give them the to.
No, but the whole channel is that. The whole channel is just. It's not like serious, sort of talking about the films like in depth. It's just like I'll make a 10-minute video, talking at high rates of speed so that anybody can just sort of like dive in and get all this like just cranked up information coming at them. I can't understand it personally. It's just completely off of my
the YouTube reviews or the YouTube movie.
No, I'm talking about the style. These kind of American sort of crazy people. It's just they're just like. They're just caught up in something. They're in a craze of something, and it's like, yeah, man, I've got to get into horror films. Like, yeah, this horror film. Like, how many horror films have you watched this year? Well, 100. I mean, what is that even? What is that? I don't understand. Why would anyone sit around watching 100 horror films a year?
Because they have this specific niche on their YouTube, and they need to create, valuable content for the audience. So that's why they do that.
Yeah, but it's not valuable content to me.
It's not to you, but it's to other people who are interested in that, So that's why they're
Well,
doing
no,
it.
they think it is because there's a few people clicking on it. They think because it's like thousands of people clicking on something, they think it verifies to them that what they're doing has some kind of reason behind it, and so they keep wanting to grow the channel. But it's
but the horror movie niche is very. I mean, it's quite big, right? I mean, how many people enjoy horror?
Yeah, but it's like with global warming, like that keeps getting bigger and bigger and gets more and more likes and views. That doesn't mean it's a good thing, does it?
Well, I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but imagine in what kind of times we're living, where Exorcist the Believer is accepted as a movie and it's not banned anywhere. I mean, it was banned when in England, right? I mean, now like people are talking about it as if it's like whatever, demonic possession, It's like people are like it's more popular now, the genre, the horror movie genre, It's like.
Oh well, I would argue any aspects which made the
Which is great because it's a great genre.
The original Exorcist was banned because it showed everything in such a serious fashion, as if
because of the times,
Not only that, I think it was both. If the film had not been any good, then it wouldn't have been banned. It was the fact that the film was so good at what it was showing you. I mean, any film that shows a girl putting a crucifix into her vagina, I mean, it's like there's nothing even approaching that in Exorcist Believer. So,
Oh yeah, like it didn't risk anything. Yeah, I mean, I read that somewhere. But I mean,
it's not just that it's toned down; it's just it's going for a different thing,
What did you wanted to show you, like some kind of sexual acts or something, unorthodox sexual acts? Because those are like, I mean, what would be the point of that? I mean, I like more subtle horror or something like that. I mean, what is the?
Well, I think there would be a big point of it, considering it the first film is the original, like that. That's where it's spinning off from. If they show whatever sexual in this film, it wouldn't have made the film any better for me or any worse or anything like that. It just could have been potentially shocking. But I think nowadays, especially all that kind of thing, people are just so blasé about everything and they wouldn't be shocked. But I do wonder whether it would even be allowed in the kind of society we have now, where the young actresses are so protected. The director and stuff, in a lot of the interviews, etc., they talked about protecting the actresses, and Linda Blair being on set with them for some of it, and it was all about how. And I was just thinking, like, how honestly can you protect anyone? You don't really know how this is going to affect a child. Making them up in this kind of makeup.
Okay.
How is this putting them in this kind of makeup at age 12 going to have a positive effect on their mental health? I mean, be honest. It's not going to, is it? Let's be honest.
I was always wondering.
It's bullshit. It's like, oh, we've got Linda Blair on set. Oh, that makes it all right then, like.
No, but I mean, I was always wondering about these children actors who have to play these horrible parts in horror movies. Like, how is their mental health, doing because of the acting that they have to do? I don't know. Maybe it's just they have someone who reassures them on screen that it's not really a monster. It's just something that's not real. Because it's.
I think the nature of the film is one aspect of that, and the impact it has. For instance, like 10 years after The Exorcist came out in 1983 or something, everybody remembered The Exorcist as being this film of its time, didn't they? 10 years from now, no one will be talking about Exorcist Believer. It's just another thing that came out and has gone under the. It won't be memorable to anyone other than people like ourselves who took it seriously, for instance. And the first film had just William Friedkin's documentary style, and I mean, he was extremely pious about it in his interviews, where he would just bash the sequels to the films unrealistically, in my opinion. I think he was being unfair on them, etc. And just pompous about his own film. You know, like the original Exorcist is so amazing. Like it is a film at the end of the day, but it definitely had an impact on Linda Blair. That much is obvious, I think.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that. I was actually curious about Linda Blair, and how she made it as a child.
Well, she became quite. She became sort of quite, willing to just make films where she would often be seen, topless, kind of like B movie, sort of not very esteemed kind of films, but they may have been somewhat successful at the time, or certainly when it came to video releases. Like women's prison movies. And I remember when I was younger, I'd be like, "Oh, is that a grown Linda Blair in that one? Oh, there's women in the shower in that one. Oh, like when I was about 18, it's like, oh, that's interesting." But then you put the film on and you think, this isn't that interesting.
No. Okay. Well, I'm sure there are some people, on the set of the movie that helped Linda Blair, when she was younger, in a way, to, I don't know, to separate, the acting from reality or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I don't think
probably the director helped quite a bit, but I think also just in terms of like the way they were filming,
she had to be tied, right? Like that was like quite extreme. She had to be tied to the bed.
Yeah, there's a part where she was being jolted up and down, Marlena, and it's like she injured her back, you see, making it. So regardless of any kind of psychological impact, which you could just say, well, it's all just fantasy, therefore it's not real. But the reality is she was in the film, she did do it, she was in that kind of environment. It makes her think about all these crazy ideas of demons and things, like, it's going to have an impact. But
yeah, but I mean, she gave us a great performance, and a great movie. So I mean, in its own genre.
That is true, and unfortunately, she didn't have a great career on a par with her performance in that film. Was a 12 or 13-year-old or whatever. I mean, she certainly did a lot of different films, but none of them like that were as kind of going to be up for an Oscar or something. Like,
of course,
people mentioned that she was in a film called Roller Boogie or something like that, and stuff. It's like,
really,
it's not going to be sort of at the Academy Awards, is it? But
good evening, strange movie people. Hi, Tony L. Barber. I saw this 107 was frightening to me at the time. Yeah, I know. I saw The Exorcist when I was young also, so it has an impact on you when you watch it when you are young. I don't know. I think it's like because children are impressionable and they just.
Honestly, I think the first film, the first Exorcist, it has a documentary style to it, as I've said about with Freaking, but the film like casts a spell on its audience. That's what it does. It's, and I think there are little parts of The Exorcist Believer that could almost do that, but then I think there are parts of it where you can like a lot of people were just roundly bashing the church scene. They just said this is awful. Like,
the church scene, wasn't that good. I can accept that. But I mean, it wasn't bad.
The trouble is, it's not even that bad. If it was really bad, you might kind of enjoy it. It's just average,
It was just average. Yeah, it's true. I agree.
But to be honest, I think they were trying to sort of make that scene very subtle with what I mentioned. With her fiddling with herself, basically, and so.
Fiddling. I just didn't notice the fiddling. I have to watch it again.
Well, it's not like in the first film where she starts grabbing a crucifix or anything. I don't really like talking about this because I feel embarrassed, but
Yeah, but if they started it, so.
But if my embarrassment is partly also caused by some of the photos I'm looking at right now, of their Linda Blair with the singer or the musician Rick James. I think he did the song Super Freak. I don't know if that was about Linda Blair, but I'll show you these photos in a minute.
She sang in a song. I don't think so. Did she?
No, she didn't sing it. I'm just wondering if the song might have been about her.
Oh, okay.
And he's like a very, shall we say, funky singer. I don't want to highlight anything to do with any racial differences or anything like this kind of stuff. It doesn't really matter. And it was a funky time, but it definitely shows that Linda was kind of open to the world of entertainment and music that she was living in. And good for her. But, you only have to look at, say, a child star like Drew Barrymore. I mean, she was like drinking at a very young age, and you just wonder. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I don't.
I would kind of disagree with what Isabella Mars is saying there. I think in the UK, especially, I think from what I know, it had an almost sort of like holy grail of horror kind of aspect to it. But I do think
Uh,
a big part of that was because of it had been withdrawn by Warner Brothers. So, because there were reports in the media of like teenagers being convinced they were possessed or something. So, I mean,
oh,
was
really?
it really banned? No, I think it was just withdrawn for a while. And of course, Warner Brothers would have known, withdrawing it from video rental for quite some time would have given it, this extra notoriety and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
negative publicity.
I think you're right at the time, Isabella Mars, but I think in the 80s that was when the damage was done, under the kind of repressive Video Recordings Act, etc., that came in. So
It's really, yeah, because she's saying that the media hype of the time has lived on. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, why The Exorcist has such a hype, and why it
I think
didn't end.
it's because of the religious aspect of it.
Okay,
Because there was this thing of at the time, especially in America, I suppose, but like the Catholic Church saying, that they were kind of almost fond of the film because it kind of turned some people towards religion. But I sort of
really?
think to myself, if people are turning to religion because of fear of a demon possessing a
Yeah.
teenage girl, I don't really see that as being. Is that like good? I don't know.
No. I
That's
mean,
just superstition and stuff, I
okay,
mean,
they would turn to religion to because they are afraid they would be possessed and they wouldn't be in the church. They wouldn't be, like, yeah.
no, but
Well,
they saw the pictures of Linda Blair with Rick James, and they didn't want their child being,
yeah,
taken for fun by a large black man who's funky. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, but you know what? Because I was like talking to a professor once, like, about demonic possessions.
all right,
And
Marlena, there's no need to start showing off.
okay, but anyway, and and I was asking him, like, do you think that it's possible that demonic possessions are most often found in religious countries? And he said that, yeah, it's very possible, because I mean, in non-religious countries, for example, in Scandinavia, have you ever heard of demonic possession of a cases of demonic possessions? Anyway, this teacher
I think
was
it's too
just.
cold there for them to start thinking about getting possessed. Yeah. You're right, though.
It's like very religious, and in religious countries, like England is religious or was religious, Romania, many demonic possessions, and all this in Italy and all these kind of countries that are
I think it's more the atmosphere of like if a country's got quite a conservative, type of ethos and all that kind of thing, and like now people are just they've seen everything on the internet. They're not fazed by anything, are they? So
no. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, I don't know. It's like this wouldn't happen in, I don't know, Denmark or or
this is the
Norway.
demon, by the way, from The Exorcist Believer. So
This is what they showed at the end, really?
Well, they didn't show the entire thing. They seemed to show bits of its face. There was a different shot of its face used in the trailers. I honestly feel like when I say slapdash, the promo for this film, I think they know what they're doing by putting different things in the trailer which aren't in the film, because this interests horror people like us. But is it good promo to start using all these different images that aren't even in the film? I mean, it just confuses people. And like if you're going to make this kind of a plan for the film, just think how much it would have taken in terms of just hours and the amount of makeup, special effects work that went into this, and then basically you don't show any of it. I mean, I don't really think that I would have wanted to see this whole demon like this in the film particularly, but so
well, she looks more like I don't know, old lady, baggy old lady with a third eye, bad teeth, 2 horns. I mean, she is scary, probably, if you see her in real life. But yeah, they showed only
if you see her when you're walking down, like to go to the shop, and you just saw her sort of standing behind a tree or something, you would probably be like, "What the hell?"
Maybe.
But that's not really scary if you're just saying, "What the hell?" Because my initial reaction would be, "This is someone dressed up, surely." And then and then if I found out this is actually a real person, I'd probably just start I'd jump on top of it to try and squash it or something. Do like a kind of wrestling move on it. With like that, smashing my elbow down onto its nose or something. Just imagine that.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be really scary in real life. I mean, I think ghosts are scarier if you think about it, if you see them. I am on all these groups on Reddit about paranormal and supernatural. I actually post photos of ghosts that these people have seen in real life, and it's really scary to see those photos, So I mean, because these ghosts exist and you see them, on those photos, and they they talk about what happened, how they found this ghost, blah blah blah. So those things are scary, But I mean, this I don't think it would be scary.
Well, I mean, this is another photo. This is one I actually have blown up, and it's quite large, just on in my lounge here on the wall. So,
this one, Linda Blair. But Linda Blair. Wow, she was so young. Like, how old?
I think she would have been going. I think she would have been about 19 or 20 by then. But Isabella Mars, can I just ask you, are you responding to the previous comment from Tony? Because otherwise I don't have no idea what you're referring to.
Oh yeah, she was asking.
I'm pretty sure that the Evil Dead budget was not 12 million, so no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, the budget, the box office for 400 million. Quite astounding. The Evil Dead movie, do you mean?
Probably referring to The Exorcist, but I think the budget for The Exorcist was actually more than that, really. Especially in today's, adjusted. But anyway, I can't understand what you're referring to, Isabella. Sorry.
Yeah.
Here's another picture of Linda and Rick James.
Wow, they were quite open.
It definitely cost more than 12 million, even at the time.
The Exorcist.
Because it adjusted for inflation, it would cost something like about 85 million now. The Exorcist.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't know how they found the budget even during that time.
I don't know. I may have been reading wrongly, actually. Let me just check. Yeah, budget 12 million, it says on Wikipedia, but...
Okay, 12 million.
The 12 million budget. 12 million.
Tony says that most horror isn't scary. Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like 12 million in 1973 is actually $83 million today. So, yeah.
But it was 12 million.
Now, I mean, if it was made now, Exorcist would cost 83 million. whereas
Oh,
the Exorcist Believer cost nearly 30 million. So that's
oh,
nearly a
okay.
third, really. It's pretty cheap.
Oh, okay. Hmm. Hmm. So it's like I was like wondering. So was it that expensive because they had to do all that, the demonic possession scenes and the makeup? Because I don't get it. They just filmed it on a set, right?
Um,
Not in a house.
the film varies between obvious, like the hospital, for instance, is obviously a real location.
Yeah.
The town, the church, the exteriors of the houses are real locations. The
Oh,
interiors are probably sets. Yeah, I imagine.
okay.
I think a lot of the cost for the films nowadays. I mean, the initial cost for the earlier scene in Cuba or wherever it's supposed to be is like, I mean, that would have cost a bit, and the special effects of the building crumbling. But I do think that a lot of the cost for a film now is just going to wages and just many things that we don't even see on screen. So it might
Yeah.
sound like a lot of money for what it is, really. But
Yeah.
I mean, considering that yeah, like you said, I'm not sure whether you were suggesting that the film could be 3 hours, but I do think that. I do think the Exorcist Believer they could have shot up to that much, and it's like it's coming out on streaming right in about a week or two, I think, for
Oh,
Halloween.
okay.
For Halloween,
That's nice. I didn't know
right?
that.
Yeah, it is, but then it's coming out in a package which is already sort of like they've got the pictures of it and everything, but without much detail of what's on it
Okay.
in next March, end of next March. Then go forward a year to March 2025, Exorcist Deceiver comes out. So they really know what they're doing with all of this. And yeah, like Isabella Mars, what she's highlighting is the incredible money that the original Exorcist made. But
Yeah.
it does seem sometimes like I don't think anybody's reached like the level of an Exorcist film, an Exorcist sequel that it could reach. But I think that these sequels possibly could be better than this one.
Deceiver. Yeah, it sounds quite interesting. I don't really like so much
Well,
Believer. Why did they start with Believer? Because I mean, it's just so cliche. I don't
it
like
doesn't
it
make
at
any
all.
sense because the characters that are believers in it are Catherine's family.
Yeah, those are
We,
believers.
and
Yeah, exactly.
they're not even on screen. We never get any shots of
Yeah, they.
Catherine at home having food or anything, do we? It's just
Oh, that's cool.
so. This is another picture of
Um,
Rick James. I mean, he was like at that point he was very possessive of her, and he would go around with her for at least 23 hours of the day, holding her like that. So
this is her husband, you mean?
she wasn't. They weren't married. It was just like a couple
Oh, okay. Um,
making funky music.
but I mean, they were trying to no, they were trying to paint this kind of division between the believer, the believer family, the ones that were like Catholic and they went to church, and the guy, father of Catherine, yeah, no, which one is the black girl, the father of
I've,
the black
I've
girl.
just put up a picture of your boyfriend on screen for you, Marlena. It's
Oh, thank you. Oh, I miss him so much.
twin
I
perfect.
wanted to see a photo of him.
What do you think of
Yeah,
him
he is
though?
great.
He is quite hunky.
He is quite my type with glasses and all.
Yeah, well, his video's got like over 1 million views. Twin perfect. Twin Peaks explained.
Oh,
So
do you mean that guy is a
men.
YouTuber? That guy is a YouTuber?
Yeah, he did that video that I was talking about just now.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. What kind of
Have you never
YouTube
seen that
is
video?
he?
I
Mm-mm.
don't know. I can't
No, I was
explain
just.
what kind of YouTube. He comes from a gaming kind of background more than anything. So
Oh yeah.
he's sort of like alien to me, really. I don't like to express my opinions as they are vile, but
Vile opinions.
yeah. But I mean, anybody who makes a video talking about explaining Twin Peaks is immediately, you know,
Okay, I
a,
get
a
it.
dick and a dick and a dwabber, really, aren't they? Come on. I mean, they're a bit of a dick, aren't they? Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, those videos are the best because I mean, it's like because there's not much content about Twin Peaks on YouTube, so the more the better for me. It doesn't matter. That's my opinion.
Okay, well, all right. Just explain this video to me, please. This picture, I mean, what's happening here?
He explained it's like rich lady who is soprano. It's like exactly what it is.
It's Rebecca Del Rio, who she was in Twin Peaks and Mulholland Drive. Yeah, so yeah.
Oh, okay, but she looks like a soprano.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like how much content about Twin Peaks we have on YouTube? I mean, not so much, right? I was actually trying to find some.
There's been a new video recently of a channel called Wow Lynch Wow, but I haven't watched it, and it's
It's good. Did you watch the channel? You haven't.
I have in the past. I mean, Wow Lynch Wow, he's got like 35.4k subscribers, so yeah.
Okay.
His recent video is actually about the film 2001, which is no, but there's actually one as well called Twin Peaks, Major Briggs, and the Fireman exploring possible connections, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that kind of video, but in many ways, it's almost just speculative. It's like somebody just kind of they write down a whole bunch of ideas that they've got, which just seem sort of coming from nowhere almost to me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to see videos where people like look at the film frame by frame, really. Otherwise,
Okay.
it's kind of just like fan fiction now for me. And the further it's gone on, it just seems like it's just fallen by the wayside anyway. So,
oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I mean, yeah, there's not really an appetite for people to watch videos about Twin Peaks in hundreds of thousands on YouTube.
No, it's very very narrow niche on YouTube, I think, which is good because I mean, these kind of narrow niches are the best, because it's like.
I think it's just the nature of the show, isn't it? Mainly, but it's like if you look back on this Wow Lynch Wow, he's got a Twin Peaks in Defense of Season 2, which is a.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been done so many times, and we used to talk about that so much when I used to do videos with Cameron often. How we liked Season 2, etc. But we were often thinking about how Twin Peaks could continue as well. That's got like 9.4k views 1 month ago. Then the previous video is like Tony Soprano is no Gary Cooper about The Sopranos. So that's got 35k views 1 month ago. So that's like 3.5 times as many.
Because The Sopranos is very, very popular. So, like if you put Sopranos, it's like really popular keyword everywhere on YouTube.
Yeah, some of his videos have just gone viral. Like he's got one like The Sopranos Ultimate Food Talk Marathon. It's like 413k views 3 months ago. So that's just so varied. Like, how can you have one video that's got like 500,000 views nearly, and then you do a Twin Peaks one, and it's got just struggles to get 10,000 views? It's.
Well, that's the algorithm.
Crazy.
So, yeah, it's how it works. The algorithm.
Well, they say there's an algorithm, and it's like, for me also, I've heard of like shadow banning, and I sometimes wonder if my own channels fell by the wayside because of things like that. Like, I looked recently and it said that I'd had 200 views on my last video, and then it suddenly went down to just 166. Like, how is this possible? So
happens.
I don't understand really how YouTube operates, but more and more, I just think like you can't really always gauge it on kind of the views you get from one specific source. But you know, if you're getting some people coming in the chat, that's good enough, really. And you know,
Yeah, but I mean, if you're planning to monetize the channel, I mean,
well, no,
that's a
you
lot.
can't monetize until you've got 1,000 subscribers, for instance, and
No,
you know,
1,000 hours of views, 1,000 hours of like no 1,000, yeah, 1,000 hours or something.
no, it's 1,000 subscribers, I'm sure. But anyway, that's not why I do YouTube, to get likes or to get views. It's like, it's just, I do it because I've got somebody who's going to be coming on who I can talk to, like yourself. You know, someone who's good to talk to.
Yeah.
Even if you think I'm talking too much or something like that. So
yeah, I do think so, but but it's good because the reason why I don't talk so much is because
no, sometimes there's a bit of a delay, isn't there, as well?
I'm not very confident about my English speaking skills because it's not my native language, and
Well,
I'm better.
I think you're pretty good.
Thank you, but I mean, it's always going to be there because I was not born English, so I have to, I have to come up with words in my head. Even though I don't use Romanian now almost at all, but still.
But to get back onto like track, like I think like one thing with our videos, or with my videos going back over a few years, like when it used to be a bit more of a kind of chaotic and fun time at times, even though it's a bit ridiculous to look back on it at that, because I'd be coming off videos and I'd be just like sometimes a bit wired or just very tired out. But you have to do it for your own enjoyment. But
exactly.
It's obviously like now with me having sort of control over different Twin Peaks groups. I mean, one for this channel, and then I was always involved with Twin Peaks Worldwide. I mean, there's still a lot of interest in Twin Peaks, but it's how you capture that. Like if you went on Twitter now and just posted non-stop about Twin Peaks, I suppose you could get a certain interest, but especially with the way that Twitter has gone downhill, and it just almost seems like they're running it off the road, really. Like calling it X and all that kind of nonsense. It's like, it just seems like a joke, really. And they seem to be aware of it, I think, to some degree, but you can't take it seriously, basically. I just don't think that people are that interested in Twitter anymore. And the thing with Twin Peaks is there's just nothing out there which is going to spur people on to read about it on Facebook or read about it wherever, Instagram or something. It's just, if there was some news, like the main news we've got lately is people have come back online a bit. Christabel has appeared again after a year. Sabrina Sutherland, Lynch's executive producer, has said he's doing great, which is obviously very positive. And then I read that Rittenhouse is a company is making trading cards that are going to come out. What they call the Log Lady Chronicles cards. They'll be out next year. So
that's cool.
I mean, I thought they are official, but it just seemed. I mean, that sounds like a name that Mark Frost has given them or something to me. But it's like, I mean, they must have had somebody like him involved. Otherwise, I don't understand how they're going to base a whole set of cards coming from the Log Lady. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound very interesting anyway. This news to me doesn't sound, even though I'm a fan, not so interested in this news. I mean, I'm interested in a continuation of the series, but nothing, I mean, and those meetings that they are doing with the celebrities in USA, I forgot, where they are doing it.
Yeah, right. You mean like them appearing at Comic Cons and things like this?
Yeah, Comic Con, all those meetings. But yeah, all this kind of stuff, not very interesting. I mean, I don't know. It kind of died down,
Well, it's not. It's not actually. It's like it died down over the whole pandemic phase, which went on, I would say, like 3 solid years or so. But then after that, they suddenly had like this thing called Spooky Empire, and then
Oh
Kyle
yeah.
MacLachlan was even there at the end of last year, and
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, Kyle is active, I think, doing stuff, which is great. But I would like a continuation of the series. That would be really interesting. Because I don't know, I wasn't very satisfied. I think I told you with the season 3, wasn't very extremely happy and supportive of season 3. So
well, the thing I'm talking about with the the Log Lady Chronicles, if they're going to make those, there's got to be somebody like one of the writers, i.e., Mark Frost or somebody, helping them with it. And the question is like, I can't really imagine what it will entail. It's got to entail characters related to her. So that in itself is quite interesting, I would say, to
okay.
offer my opinion on it. Like, because in the Secret History or the Final Dossier, which Mark Frost wrote, he included these elements, i.e., that when she was young, she was out on a walk, but she was also there with Carl Rodd, the character played by Harry Dean Stanton, and they somehow went missing, for 3 days in the woods,
I remember
which is incidentally
already.
exactly the same time that Angela and Catherine go missing
Mm-hmm.
in The Exorcist Believer. So, somebody there is a Twin Peaks fan, possibly, but
Oh, really? Okay.
well, that's my view anyway.
Okay.
Although the 3 days, of course, is the same, characters in the wilderness in the Bible and all. It's got a biblical aspect to it as well. But
3 days is biblical. Yeah, exactly.
Dougie goes missing for 3 days. Carrie Page is off work for 3 days. Okay, 3 days is a round number.
It's also like it may be that their consciousness was suspended in a way, so they entered this kind of reality where there was no time anymore. So it didn't really. I mean, it doesn't have to be religious, just
These comments in here are just like, I'm not geeking, whatever that means, and I'm not on cocaine. Okay, so if you think I'm on that, then I don't know. It's not really a positive for me, but thanks. I don't
which
want to appear in that sense.
what do they say? You're geeky.
I don't even know what this means. It just means that they're
Geeky.
suggesting that I'm experiencing some kind of disorder.
A
Like,
nerd. Ah, no, geeking is like about being a geek or okay. So I see. I don't know this street language. This word geeking is like okay, but
I just said I don't know anything about it, Marlena.
really I don't
So
know.
you can use Google if you want to look it up, but these people are just being disruptive bastards. So if you haven't got anything productive to say, then basically, keep quiet, or else I will come round and punch you in the ass. Yeah.
Okay, but I think you can ban them if you want, or you can delete. I don't know how YouTube works.
Shadow ban them.
No, I think it is quite disrespectful to assume that you are high. So you can ban them if you want. I don't know how, but probably.
They're not serious. It's just a joke. So.
I don't know what Scream Queens is. Like, is it like the Scream movie, or is it like a different movie? Scream Queens? Do you know?
I'm not looking at that now. I'm trying to look for something of somebody on cocaine. So
I haven't seen Scream Queens. I have only watched Scream.
I think it's good to look at people like Tactical Soup. I'll bore you if you don't shut it. All right, you just got to just view it in a funny way. But I will actually attack Tactical Soup when I find where they live. So don't worry.
Really, you're that easily offended?
No, I'd want to do it for no reason. It's just the spirit of USA.
So yeah. So what is this?
This is here we've got Donald Trump Jr. Out there higher than my electric bill, which is obviously quite high. So
almost impossible for many Americans. The high interest rates combating the inflation has made home ownership almost impossible for many Americans. The high interest rates combating the inflation has made home ownership almost impossible for many Americans. The high interest rates combating the inflation has made home ownership almost impossible for many Americans. Interest rates.
Yeah, the average 45-year-old man who's not on drugs does not talk like that. Accidentally call it saying home ownership. I mean, Christ on a bike. Someone needs to intervene. Pathetic, really.
So why are you researching about Trump Jr.?
Because he's known for taking cocaine.
No, oh God! I think the whole family is taking cocaine.
Well, yes.
Interest rates combating the inflation has made home ownership almost impossible for many Americans. Interest rates combating the inflation has made home ownership.
That's too short. I want a longer one. There's nothing longer. Jesus. Oh, it's because I'm only looking at Trump Jr. cocaine.
Oh my God, I feel so sorry for those people in the Trump family.
Why?
I don't know.
They've got enough money and things to sort themselves out. They don't want to.
Bad personalities, so. Delusional. I have somebody commented delusional.
Yeah, they are delusional. He mentioned hair curdlers on this one. This is a good one, actually.
You know, maybe has come down a little bit, or at least the inflation on it has come down a bit. But, you know, food, energy, gas, automobiles, housing, you know, that stuff, that's crazy. That's rampant. But, you know, who really needs those? They don't want you to do that. They want you to live in government housing and be a renter for your whole life. They want you to be dependent on them. So everything's great. Everything's wonderful. Just pretending like inflation there isn't rampant. It's like, well, if you take out those things that you actually need on a day-to-day basis, things look lovely. Well, if you need those, that's different. I mean, you know. I mean, these are not serious people. If inflation is basically stagnant. Yeah. The price of a hair curler, you know, maybe has come down a little bit, or at least the inflation on it has come down a bit. But, you know, food and
hair curdlers, do you have any?
Yeah.
Not curlers, curdlers.
Oh, cuddlers. What is that? I don't know what is that. I don't know what was the problem with that guy, because it was very annoying. He was very annoying.
Yeah, definitely.
And they are fraudulent bastards. And Romanian politicians are the worst, probably. They can.
I doubt it.
The prize of the worst kind of politicians in the history of politicians, the most corrupt.
Well, they're not actually politicians anymore, are they? The Trump, so.
Yeah, but I mean, a politician is a corrupt person, right?
Well, it shouldn't be that way, should it? Obviously not. It's not 100% true worldwide. I mean, there are people who are in politics who probably think they're actually doing something good, you know, so.
For example, in Finland, there is very little corruption, and the politicians are not corrupt. At least that's not what I heard when I was living there. But I mean, it's a different reality there. It's Scandinavia, so I don't know. Maybe things work differently there at the.
It's the culture the culture it comes out of, and the checking on it. You know, if there are not rules to stop people just being fraudulent, like the whole Trump thing still is that tactical dudes here. All right, ban user. I think that's somebody who I banned earlier, and they're trying to come back.
That's good. That's good, because I think he didn't add anything to the chat.
No, not even a funny username. So you know.
No. yeah, that's good.
Just,
I mean, do you get this kind of stuff all the time, like these kind of users who are rude or who are obnoxious or who are
not
saying
really. Not really. No, it's like mostly, you're lucky to get whoever is in there in the chat, but I don't want it just sort of turned into a sort of like, a flea pit of people just biting each other.
Yeah, but I mean, because this video is public, right? So any kind of YouTube viewer can find it, right? Any kind of crazy person can, come here, right? Because I mean, I'm saying this because I mean, all in these Zoom discussions and Zoom chats, which are supposed to be private. And one time there was like a crazy guy. They broke into the Zoom chat, starting abusing the other people, like saying all kinds of bad words, like this kind of crazy spammer who just broke the Zoom chat. So I was wondering, like, if you have some kind of similar people coming, or they just want to be negative, or they want to like attack you or something. I don't know, and I don't understand why these people are doing this stuff.
Especially when a video is getting like only a few people in the chat, generally, it's not really. I mean, it's not really a very fertile time for them to come in and start causing trouble anyway. So surely, if they want to do that, they would do it when we're, I mean, now they're just typing like.
Again?
This is just weird. I mean, this is like.
Okay,
I don't even know. This could be like.
Okay.
Yeah, we have had this a bit recently. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, this is not good because they might be a hacker or something. I don't know. Because yeah, you have to ban them, or I don't know.
It could be any number. It could be any number of things. It's like basically my channel is not really standalone in many ways. It's not like just my own thing. I think many aspects of it are like where I'm uploading, short films, etc., and all that kind of thing. So,
okay.
I mean, now I've just got a succession of people with fake names coming in. So, but if people are just going to write really offensive stuff in there just for no reason, then I will ban them. So.
Oh, look again! Oh my God, that's terrible. The fuck.
They must have just millions of YouTube accounts, which is pretty easy to do if you're obsessed enough. But
look at the ID, the name that they have. It's very funny.
There's a lot of bot armies that infiltrate. They seem to want to be making like racially charged comments or this stuff about being retards and stuff. I mean, my channel used to have a lot of like talk in it, which was just really offensive at times. We would make some offensive jokes, and now I can understand how some people might look on it and think that's kind of going too far, So it just, you see, if you do that kind of thing, then you really have to just appreciate that you're going to always attract a certain kind of, comments sometimes, possible trolls and things. I mean, there's been people who've been trolls who've been incredibly creative about it, though, in the past.
Okay.
I'm just one guy with a bunch of alts.
Such a loser. Sorry, but you are not
normal in the why do you call me a junkie when I'm not on drugs anyway? So, like, find something. I think if anybody looks at me on video now, they wouldn't think that I'm on drugs. So, it's not really going anywhere, is it?
There's not normal mental health there. Okay, so
it kind of, like my channel was known from its association with a different channel that I used to be on, for instance.
Associating with a different channel? What channel?
Well, with the channel Obnoxious and Anonymous, which was Cameron's channel, because I used to be on that, and I would never be making my own videos if it wasn't for him. So anyone could tell that. So and going back to when Twin Peaks: The Return was on, there was something of a kind of drama going on between the two channels. So, you know.
Oh, really? What kind of drama? Was it about the series or what?
No, it was to do with me. Like I was mainly running the page Twin Peaks worldwide, and then the other guy was running it, and he was more like logical with it all. Like I wanted to post what I wanted to post, and so we had a bit of a, disparity.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What, Naomi? I'm not going to beat up anybody, and certainly not a woman. So anyway, but I wish you'd just write something interesting rather than all this crap, because it's like I can't believe someone's made this many different accounts. I mean, it must be. I mean,
possible.
If you're in America, then obviously you're a good indication of like America not offering you any mental health help.
Oh, stop with these American cliches. Come on. How do you
No,
know?
it's true though. It is true that I would never want to live in America.
I would. I mean, there are bad things about America, but there are good things too. Like I have friends from America, and I have a really good opinion of Americans because of them. So I don't know. It depends on what kind of people you meet. What kind of people you associate yourself with.
Yeah, of course, but it's just too far away from where I come from for me. That's the thing. I know that every place has many positive aspects, but I do think America has got a lot of problems for sure.
Yeah, yeah, but which country is without
problems? I don't mean just Naomi Stewart, Tony 894, Tactical Retard, Tony Egg, or whoever, all these different people. I mean, but they are part of this kind of problem that comes out of that culture. The kind of USA culture. It's kind of every man for himself.
Yeah.
I can't ever imagine really many English people making this many different names.
Yeah, but now you're generalizing, so you don't know. Maybe he's a Romanian hacker, because Romanians...
No, they just wrote, "Come to America and beat me up." They're obviously like masochistic or something.
Very intelligent, so...
They want to be beaten up.
They want to be beaten up.
Or more likely, beaten off.
If they're good hacker, you won't be able to find them, so don't worry.
All right. Nice one. I mean, they could even be in Slovenia for all I know. Who knows?
Yes, Slovenia, Slovakia, Bulgaria, or Italy, or whatever. I don't know.
Somebody who's very angry with me, that's all. And I think it's pretty clear who it is. I know. Fine.
Okay, so you know about this. Okay. That might be interesting to analyze.
It's a gay man who basically is in love with me, I think. So
okay, it's a game.
I mean, there are many gay men who feel like that about me, but
I don't know how to feel about a gay woman being.
I'm not gay.
I would be a bit disturbed, but I understand. Tony says he...
Anyway, I'm glad that somebody put it into words better than I could, Tony. So
yeah, it's good and bad everywhere. I mean, I love my Romanian people. I love my country, but it's so fucked up. It's so corrupted. I mean, it's almost impossible to live here with the income and the level of poverty that there is in this country. Is like. But of course, it's my country. I love it. I feel the same as Tony feels about America. So I don't think there is a perfect country. I mean, even the most perfect country has bad stuff, negative stuff, a lot.
Of course, though, I mean, with what Tony's saying, that the people in government, they are people.
They are not. No, he says they are not people.
No, I mean, obviously they are. Otherwise, what else are they then?
If they are inhuman robots, sociopaths.
I think like the world that we're in now, where there's such a sort of divide between the haves and the have-nots, and the people who are living kind of in relative luxury compared to people who are down at the very bottom. I think that's what Tony's talking about a bit. Like, you know.
Yeah, it's like a huge disparity between people. Yeah, I mean, that might suck, but I mean, you know, if you want equality, you can go to Northern Europe, and everyone is equal there. I mean, it's quite. I don't know if it's better to see everyone equal. You know, I don't know, but because you have to.
Where do you mean? Where do you mean in Northern Europe?
I mean, in all these countries, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Norway, there is like equality, you know, because the salaries are similar and the taxes are progressive. There's a progressive tax.
It's probably pretty difficult to move there unless unless somebody, if you already have people living out there, family, or you know, you have a solid career. Basically, you can't just kind of go, I'm going to go move and live in Finland, you know. So.
No, I just went and I moved to Finland. You know, I mean, it's not impossible to move there, but I mean, it's hard to live there. It's not hard to go there to, you know.
Nothing's cheap, basically.
No, it's very, very expensive, of course. And it's very cold and it's different culture. It's totally different, but everyone is equal. You know, everyone is equal. You have to blend in with everybody. You can be different there, so. Good luck with that. They are different in any way.
Well, I think everyone's fairly equal in this country. It's just that we have, you know, a variety of problems with things having been underfunded, etc. in this country. Hopefully things will improve when we get a new government. So, I mean, from very small things, really. Like, you know, we're having all this flooding now. This is the highest flooding we've had locally.
Really? You have so bad flooding there?
Yeah, the 2 blocks of flats down from me, they're not big blocks or anything. I'm just in a village. They're like, they've got all water come up from the brook. But I'm talking about the river in the city in Derby. It's like the highest it's ever been. And it's like, you know, the councils are just underfunded. They have to go around and clean all the drains and things like this, you know, tedious stuff. But they did it last 2 years ago. I mean, in reality, they should probably be doing it every 6 months. But there's just not the... You know, and there's roads with holes in them now, more than they used to be. Just obvious problems, and this is the kind of, and you know, from living in Ireland, everything's so expensive anywhere in the UK.
Don't remind me of Ireland. I think it was crazy there.
No, but I mean, in terms of accommodation mainly, that's the very too inflated in many areas.
It's very much inflated, yeah.
And there's just not a balance between like people who are living in sort of like okay places, but they're overpriced, and then people who are living in like kind of crummy places, and then they've got all these problems, you know, with people living in cramped or dirty and damp conditions, etc. So it's just
and it's like it's crazy because in Ireland there is no this kind of law where they prohibit people to stay like 20 in one house, you know, because in England I know that at least 8 people, because I lived with 8 people in a very small house. I mean, it was a house, but they were like full adults, you know, grown adults.
Yeah, I think
the
problem is just too big to even take on, because one film which I saw, which always made quite a big impression on me, there's this documentary called London. It's by Patrick Keeler, I think, and that was about London in the time, early 90s. And then he made this other film called Robinson in Space, and it's about these people traveling around England, and they're kind of looking at new industrial estates and the way industry has completely changed. You know, like there's just these nowhere lands, you know, where there's all trucks coming in, and, you know, it's got to the point now where it's like Amazon, just a massive kind of development. You don't know what's going on there or anything. You just order stuff from it. And we're all separate in a way, aren't we? But it's got its good points, but, you know, maybe not all of that great. But they made another film after that, which was called The Dilapidated Dwelling. And that, which I've never seen. And that is about the housing standards in this country and the housing condition. Like, I think the problem is almost too big for them to take on. Like, there's over there's over 1 million empty properties in the UK.
Really?
Yeah, just standing there. And yet there's people lying down on the street. It's like, you know, and you see more homeless people since about the last 20 years. More homeless people have popped up because there's less funding for the services which can home them, and it's just everything has just gone crazy. It creates this really bad feeling, like sometimes, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the accommodation in Romania, I don't think there is a big problem with it, but I mean, yeah, I mean you if you want to live here, it's fine, it's okay, but I mean you will be very poor because the salaries are crap here, and it's very hard to get a job also here in Romania. I don't know why. Like you can get a job very easily in England. I got a job very easily, but here in Romania, oh my God, it's like I don't know. People don't trust people here, so you know, because the level of trust is so, you know, because there are so many people who are, you know, cheating, and people who, you know, they are not, you know, they are not nice people here, you know. So the level of trust in other people is very, very low. So yeah, you wouldn't want to live here. Like, I mean, it would. There are some
a lot of people out there can be dishonest to get like into certain jobs and things like this, like claim they've got experiences and qualifications that they don't have, for instance. Yeah. I know, you know, I've known of that kind of thing, and to me it just seems really wrong. But at the same time, you know, it's like people just kind of they just mold themselves into the situation they're in, and they just think, oh, it's okay to be like dishonest if it helps me, really. And
yeah,
and you know, I mean, that's not really, I don't see why anyone would particularly want to be part of that society, but I'm just being extremist, like all or nothing, I suppose, you know. No, I think most people are fairly honest, though, to be fair. So,
but because you were born in England, but because Romania has this kind of very controversial history in the past, where the country leaders were very not dishonest, but they were like, how do you say when people are doing this? They are just like selling the country, where they get a lot of debts. They don't pay their debts, you know. Like many Romanian leaders, they had a lot of debts from other countries that they didn't pay the debts, and they just like ran away, or you know, all this kind of stuff they're doing.
It's the business model that inspired Trump. So
yeah, exactly. Because like there is a lot of, you know.
Well, anyway, I'm sure there's bad business people everywhere, and you know, like when I went to America, I was kind of like, I felt like it was really amazing, you know. So, but I think there's an element of it that just the vastness of it, which is the scary part for some reason, I suppose. But that is only a natural reaction to it, considering where I'm from. Like,
exactly, yeah.
You've been to the UK, haven't you? You've been to England, right? And it's just
I live there. I live in London, you know.
Like everything's just around you, like close, isn't it, and stuff. And
yeah, no, I
you know what I mean. But in America, it's not. It's like you have to go like long distances to get places.
Yeah, because of the land, they have too much land. So.
Depending on where you are, obviously, I'm sure there's some really lovely places in America where I'd love to just sort of walk around and that kind of thing. The smaller towns and things, but they are just the same. Like when I went 20 years ago, like they're just the same as how it has become even more here. You know, just these sort of inner areas of the town are just sort of like empty properties, you know, and vacant stores. Now you've just got shopping malls on the outskirts. I mean, it's the same in any other Western place. So it was like that not in Romania. It's like the center of the towns are okay, but everything's sort of like built up like flats. So it's more what people would. What people would call the communist style. So.
No, the center of the towns look horrible, so they look like
Foxarney wasn't. It was okay, and then of course the Foxarney. Yeah, then the outskirts are more like, you know, shopping centers. So
yeah, that's the model of the Romanian city. Yeah, of course, the center of the town looks nice, okay, but then if you go outside of it, or a bit outside of the center, yeah. But now, I mean, I don't know. They are different now because they are building a lot of stuff in Romania. They are renewing the buildings, and the entire country is like a big, construction site. So, I mean, at least my city is like you can move because of the construction workers, and everywhere they are doing all kinds of repairments. So it's good. I mean, it's good, but it doesn't look nice. They are just breaking down all these buildings, and there are many empty properties also. Like there are a lot of empty properties, but they are leaving them. They are leaving them like that, abandoned. They don't do anything with them.
No, that was like that in Foxshani. There was like an empty theatre, and I went inside it and had a look around.
Oh, really?
It's not like it was really falling to bits or anything, so it was safe. But yeah, it definitely seemed a shame. I suppose you could see how there's a certain decline there, like where such a large kind of theatre venue has just been left to,
Yeah, it's a shame.
Something going on.
Because many people leave the country, and even if, like, for example, they might have a business and they don't want to invest in any property, anything inside the country because of the corruption and the high taxes, and they want to bring their business elsewhere. So that's why, they abandon, whatever they have here. So it might be possible because there's so much emigration from Romania to our abroad. It's just like very, very big, big immigration going on at the moment. And also maybe because of the war, there is also a lot of immigration because, we're so close to Ukrainian border.
So have you, before we end and everything, was there anything you've watched recently that you wanted to mention other than Talk to Me?
Talk, okay. No, like The Exorcist, Talk to Me, and what else? Maybe I watched something, but it wasn't memorable. I'm trying to find some kind of movies with haunted houses because those are, I think, the most.
Well, yeah, you would have no problem finding The Watcher in the Woods, so find it. That's the one.
Watcher in the Woods, okay.
The number one film now on Netflix is The Devil on Trial. Only 1 hour, 20 minutes. A boy apparently possessed by the devil, exorcism, murder, and the first and only time demonic possession was in a US murder trial. That's number one.
Oh, is it like a real case in USA?
Based on it's all about a real. It's a documentary, yeah.
Whoa. Okay, that's good.
It's actually a British documentary, but it's about a US murder.
Russian.
So really, it's just a true crime documentary with a sort of, supernatural spin, I suppose.
Okay, well, that's good. There is something that I haven't told you. There is this Stephen King adaptation, The Outsider, if you have watched it.
Oh, yeah, at least it's only one season, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. We watched all that back in the day, and we were like, talking about it each week when we had like a few extra people on here as well, like Jamie, etc. She's always been into stuff like that, so she enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah, it was not bad.
Okay, so is there a new season coming, or why is there only one season? Is it like are they making a new season?
I honestly can't tell you. You'd have to. I mean, I think in many instances, things like that, it's a case of, the material and that, like it came at the exact time pretty much before the pandemic, and then some things were just put on hold, but I'm not even sure if they planned on continuing it. So
yeah, that's what I hate about this mystery or horror series, that they stop after 1 or 2 seasons. It's like, I don't want to watch this kind of stuff if they don't continue. They're I don't know what to do.
Well, there's a new show now on number 2 in TV programs. Not that this seems all like fixed, but the new on network series, there's this new one called Bodies. It's 4 detectives, 4 timelines, 1 body. To save Britain's future, they'll need to solve the murder that altered the course of history first. And basically, there's 1 body, like a murder victim, presumably, discovered in 4 different timelines or times, basically, which kind of makes me think of the start of Twin Peaks: The Return, actually, with the Ruth Davenport body and everything. So, and honestly, I do think like a lot of people who make these kind of shows and stuff, they are influenced absolutely by someone like Lynch. But this show doesn't look anything like Lynch. So, you know, it's its own thing. It goes from like Victorian time to modern time to, you know, in between or wherever. And it's got Stephen Graham in, who's always good, but the rest of the cast look okay. And I saw someone posting about it on Facebook, and one guy was doing the locations and stuff like that. He actually worked on it. He was saying, "Can you tell me what you think of it?" And some woman just responded immediately with one comment, like saying, "I could only watch the first episode. I just wasn't feeling it."
Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot. And he just put, "Thanks a lot."
Okay, but that's like
She really knows how to just spread, you know, kind of her charm out there.
There's a new movie called Blue Rose. Have you seen Blue Rose?
Oh, that's only. Didn't they make that already into like a short film? But I don't know if that's a full one. I mean, if they've called it that, then obviously it's inspired by, you know, Twin Peaks. But
Twin Peaks, yeah. Oh, okay. I should check it out because it sounds interesting.
There's never been an instance where a TV show or a film has sort of, you know, like gone in totally full into Twin Peaks, because I suppose it would just end up with them getting way too much into trouble. Like, you can't just take someone else's intellectual property, as they call it, or whatever, you know.
Yes, of course not. Yeah.
Just call it something else. 3 Peaks.
3 Peaks. 3 Peaks. Owl Peaks.
No, but just when you think about Twin Peaks: The Return, I mean, how they could have done it. It could have been just like, dun, 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 dun. Oh my God, there's another body wrapped in plastic, you know, and
no, it would be so boring. I mean, who would watch it? I mean, you know, who would watch a copy?
I would definitely watch it for the opportunity of it, of kind of going in its own certain way, because there's no way, especially with David Lynch at the helm, that it would ever follow in a sort of conventional path like that. But I think to start conventionally and then completely go off, there could be something in that. That could be an interesting thing to do.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Okay. I need to sign off.
All right, Marlena. Okay.
Okay.
I hope I've not interrupted you too much today. Sorry, but.
No. It was okay. I think it was better than other times. Don't worry. But
I can only apologize about the chat. Don't take it too seriously, please.
Yeah. I mean, just monetize those people. I don't know who that person is. Just, you know, make sure that it's not a hacker and he doesn't hack you or hack your YouTube channel. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And you. Have a good weekend yourself. So.
You too. Bye.
Bye for now. Thanks, Marlena. And thank you in the chat to Tony. Appreciate all your comments, of course. So see you in the trees, and I'll be back soon. Bye for now.